All right, here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Let's record. Okay, yes. I'm gonna put this in together. Since
The myth, the legend.
the myth and the legend. What's up, Wade? Where are you? Come on, get in here. Wait.
No, that was the universe speaking to us.
God, is that you? God, give me your energy.
Yes, it is me, Johnny.
God, give me your power. I need to absorb you.
It has always been with you all along, my son.
God damn it. Now I need to use some Kamehameha shit. Oh, God, that's awesome. God, I need your answer. Where you go, God? I need like 10,000 angels for wars. I need to fight demons and whatnot. Anyway, we were talking about positive and negative. How do that was cool though. I love it. So how do we life is not always about positive or negative. How do we balance that out? Because life is always like up and down and whatnot.
Well, what is it that you mean when you say positive or negative?
Well,
Our experiences?
yeah, I mean, when we start to, well, first, when I was going to the law of attraction, when I start to be spiritually awakened, I was always focusing on the positive, but somehow the positive always sometimes go back to negative. Like, it's overpowering by positive, but there's another negative there too, but we often look the negative side. But negative doesn't mean that it's bad. It's good for you. Like, for example, everything that's bad can be good for you for your growth or pain. And I was gonna ask you, did you ever had like any pain in your life that make you grow?
Every day. um so like that positive and that negative, before I answer that other part of the question, is like, and I get what you're saying, like it's not like negative's bad or positive is good. It's like being willing to look at something because we need to look at it, or be with something that would be negative. So like if we're feeling anger, but we're like trying to be so positive and like focused on the positive, okay, but there's still like this anger that's like just hanging out, but we're like, oh my gosh, positive this, positive that. Like we're trying to plant a flower in something that, you know, is not like the rich soil that we need. And like we're ignoring that anger. We're not really accepting or even like addressing all parts of us, because there's something really powerful in that anger for being there. Like, what is that even there for? And when we can connect with that, there's a lot of expansion and power and freedom in connecting with that. But I mean, we can't plant something. I want to say we can't plant something on top of shit, but we literally plant things on top of shit. But that anger and what we discover in the anger can be that manure that feeds that positivity, that plant.
That's very interesting.
So like I like when you ask that question, that's kind of how I hear it. And like sometimes, you know, this whole like positive affirmation is like great in some ways and then not great in other ways, because if we're trying to tell ourselves that like, I heard this woman speaking the other day, Eliza Bloom, and she was talking about like, it's like, yeah, we can be like, I'm a millionaire, like affirming, I'm a millionaire. And if we don't believe it, we're actually bringing more awareness to, I'm not a millionaire. And instead she's like, you know, well, what would feel good is like, I'm wealthy. I feel wealthy. There's like different vibrations and tuning into that. And so one aspect of that, focusing on positivity, is like, where are you now in your journey and what can you connect with that brings you into that good feeling space that you want? And at the same time, not ignoring other parts of us that aren't feeling so good. Because when we ignore it, it only just gets louder and louder and louder. And from my perspective and how I work with people, is that it'll get so loud, it starts manifesting in your physical body, and it gets louder and louder and louder. Like that knee pain, is not because you twisted something when you were putting something on the wall. It's because you're not listening to your intuition and the guidance, and there's something negative been looming around that you've ignored for long enough that it's now getting louder and louder and bringing your awareness to it.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
And then for the pain, have there ever your past experience, you have so much pain that you want to, like, usually when people have enough pain, they usually want to change in themselves, and then they start changing people. Is that often the case for you?
So I would say that pain points in my life are definitely new openings to help other people, because like, oh, I've experienced something and here's a reflection of things can be really shitty, and there's something else on the other side of that. And so, I mean, yeah, my life has been full of pain points all over the place, and to varying degrees and varying subjects and experiences with that, whether it was physical or emotional. And, you know, there's still times. So that's the thing. It's not necessarily that like pain, and I don't really resonate with the word pain so much as like an experience or a sensation. But like, it's not that it goes away, but our relationship to it changes. And so, I mean, yeah, I mean, there's been parts of my life that just didn't feel good. I mean, when I was 19, I had exploratory surgery and part of my colon removed and my appendix and ileocecal valve and part of my small intestine. And, you know, that was definitely a turning point. And that's how I got into, you know, the medicine that I'm into is, yeah, I came out of surgery and my surgeon was like, this happened. They gave me a diagnosis and I was like, okay. So I went home and I did research. I read blogs from people who had this diagnosis. And so they diagnosed me with Crohn's disease. And they did all this research, and I was like, well, my diet's really important. So I went back to my surgeon and I was like, I did all this research, you know, read about people's lifestyles and things that they changed. And she basically just said, you can continue your life the way that it was. And I was like, that does not make sense to me. That does not make sense to me. And I got referred to a gastroenterologist, and something that I just chose for myself was that I wasn't going to attach myself to the diagnosis. Like, I wasn't going to be it and I wasn't going to have it. I don't know if I ever read that anywhere, but there was just something, that knowing that I talked about earlier was just so prominent in this whole experience that I was like, that this doesn't make sense. Something has to change, because if I keep doing what I was doing, then I'll just keep having problems. And it just didn't make sense to me to attach myself to this diagnosis, because I was like, no, that just didn't feel right. And so I went to go see this gastroenterologist, and he wanted to put me on steroids and things. And I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. There's something out there for me. I don't know what it is, but there's something out there for me, and this isn't it. And I saw him twice, and on the second time I fired him. And the conversation was like, are you taking these meds? And I was like, no, I'm not taking them. And I don't even remember what he said, but in my mind it was like something along the lines like, what do you know? You're 19 years old. And I just remember being like, I know that there's something out there for me, and I just don't know what it is. And then I got introduced to this man, Dr. Nelson, and he did kinesiology and muscle testing. He had me do a little laser on acupuncture points. And I was like, I don't know what you're doing, dude, but this feels so right. And when he would talk to me, like, we would have conversations. It was a connected relationship, and I started to feel better. And that's how one day at my desk, I was going to school to be an accountant, and I was like, I love numbers, but this is not my passion, and I want to make a difference in people's lives like my doctor did for me. And in that moment, I was like, I don't care how close I am to a degree, I'm going. Like, I'm going in this direction now in my life. And so that was definitely a pain point in my life of, holy shit, what's happening here in my world? And at the same time, that like internal guidance was there, and I was listening to it. I didn't quite know that, wasn't able to distinguish it, but I was trusting it.
That's very interesting. No,
Yeah.
because I noticed that the whole situation with your, the what's it, colon and everything, but it changed your direction of where, like, because I'm trying to pinpoint where a lot of people, where they have like something happen in their life and their course of their life changes for the better, right? And that's what happened in most people's life. So what is your dream now? Like, what is your compass vision that pulls you?
What is my dream now that pulls me is, I would say, being authentic and being an example in that authenticity.
Why is that important?
It's because that's the space of freedom for me, is this authenticity. And what I mean when I say that is like following my heart's guidance. So like a part of my authenticity is doing these nature experiences with women, bringing women out into nature, having nudity be a part of some of those experiences. And I had some stuff that showed up around like, oh my gosh, and what are people going to think? We're going to be naked out into the woods, and like those judgments, and the judgments of myself, of what would somebody else think. And so being authentic for me is like sharing that and allowing that guidance and allowing that to actually happen, to trust that. And so that's what's like underneath it. And I have such a passion of helping people access who they really are. Like, I want that for people too. Like, I want it for myself every day, and I want it for other people. And that's been a big part of my driving force, is helping other people access their inner guidance. And so that they're freed up to choose and be and share and have conversations and, follow that dream. Like, that is so fucking liberating.
Hell yeah, it is.
Yeah. Like, that's because for me, it's not just like me going out into the woods, and that is really powerful, and I love that. There's something so magical about taking somebody out there and letting them, like, being a part of that experience, so much that they get new openings and new awarenesses, and there's new actions, and there's new movement in their life that wasn't there before. That's like, it doesn't matter how that nugget shows up. That's the nugget for me, is being with people that they're free in this whole new way.
I gotta say, when you do this type of thing in your experience, when you're doing this new thing, does it change your experience? Does it change the way you see things, or does it change how your brain is wired? Does it change at all?
Can you ask that question again?
The old experience that you had, now the new experience that you're having now, does it change the way you see life, the way you experience life, and the way that your brain is wired? Because, like, people are so wired to the past that their brain is not, their experience is the same thing, right? And so they see the same thing. Until something new or something new they experience, it changes their lens or their brain. Is that with you?
Yeah, it definitely changes awareness, like being able to see, like seeing things I've never seen before, like actually living things that I wanted to live, like acknowledging like, holy shit, this is happening. I would say that it definitely does, but it, like you said, like it doesn't change without something changing. And it doesn't mean that something has to happen to us for that to change. Like we can intentionally change that, but it totally shifts our awareness of what's around us. Like where I am now, if I took where I was at some point in the first few years of having my own business and where I am now and what I would believe was possible or what I would be doing or how I relate to it is totally night and day. Like my relationship with what I'm up to right now and what I'm doing is, there's like the possibility, not just the possibility, but the access of things being possible and what this can be is totally different. Like I never would imagined that it was possible for other people to want to like do what I'm doing and help assist them in doing that. And that's something that opened up in a conversation the other day. I'm going to be traveling around the United States and Canada first. I've been gifted these amazing flight passes to fly anywhere for a whole year. And I'm going to take these experiences. And my friend said to me, he's like, what would it be like if somebody there wanted to be trained and do that and to carry that on? And I was like, that sounds so amazing. Like before in the past, my brain would have been like, you can't do that. Who are you? That's not even possible. Like, yeah, right. Who's going to want to do that? Well, you definitely can't even do it to begin with. Like those would have been the old conversations with my brain. And now it's like, holy shit, that sounds really exciting. All right. Let me get clear about that. Let me write that down. Okay, it's not my job to figure out how that's going to happen, but I get to be clear that I want this a part of the experience. I want people to show up who somebody's going to want to do this. You know, they're going to want to like be like, I've been waiting. I've been wanting to do something like this. And so my brain pattern now is like looking at what's possible in this particular conversation. Yeah.
So it has changed you, because most pattern people are like, it's impossible. It's like, it's unrealistic. That's what happened in most conversations most people had anyway. Why do you decided to become an entrepreneur or into doing business? That's one.
Well, the thing that always, so I have this, like, I've had this thing in my past, like, don't tell me what to do, I'll do what I want. Like, I'll work it out, I'll figure it out kind of mentality.
Yeah. I remember the conversation that you had recently. You were talking about you were actually independent, like how you said you didn't want to tell your mom about the problem. You were independent. I was like, oh yeah, I can feel it, because I'm this type of person. I hate, when it comes to working, I hate listening to, oh, you got to do this my way, or, oh, you got to listen to the fucking rules. I was like, no, they didn't say fucking rules, but I was like, you gotta listen to the rules because it's this way, it's the fucking policy. Fuck that shit. I hate fucking corporation. I hate fucking job. That's why I hate corporation and job. They restrict you from being who you are. They restrict you from your potential. I hate that fucking shit, because it has nothing to do with who I am. Like, what the hell? Oh, I'll do my job, but I'm here. I don't care. So, but yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Got some fire there.
Yeah, it's because managers, they're there to like trying to like say, oh, you gotta do this their way. Because I got in trouble. Because I wanted to have fun in the job place because it's fucking boring, and I was like, what is this? I don't want to fucking like, yeah. So yeah, it's just me. But yeah, go ahead. You're independent. You don't like being controlled. So tell about that.
Well, I think there's also important to share too, like in your experience that you talked about, Johnny, is there's a difference between somebody who's a leader and somebody who's a boss. And, you know, like what you're talking about, I think is that like boss mentality of like, you do what I say, versus somebody who's a leader is like connecting with you.
Right.
It's not, and I think that that's I don't know, I just felt really guided to share that in there. And there's a difference between people who are being leaders in the workplace and somebody who's just like, I'm here to just tell you what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that, well, for me, I think leader are more like you have to first. I think that leading is people watching you. I think that people are watching people all the time. I'm just like, since if I'm being me, then I can be influential more than I can just boss people around because people watch people what people do instead of what they say.
Ah, yeah, absolutely. It's not about what you say, it's what you do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why Gary Vee oftentimes say that all the time.
Yeah, that guy's badass.
Yeah, that's why Wade loved him. Wade loved him.
Well, Wade introduced me to Gary Vee.
Oh, he did?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Way to go, Wade.
Wade, I love you. Where are you? Where's God?
Where's God?
Yeah.
Well, he left.
I like that. I like that what you say though. Like, I never thought of it that way. Leaders like to connect. I never actually thought of it that way. That's pretty interesting.
Yeah, and there's a total difference. Total difference. And so what spawned my whole being an entrepreneur, it was that part of my personality or whatever of like, I'm just going to do it my way. And again, that knowing, that like innate knowing, sometimes I just do things because that knowing is there and I can't quite put it into words. So like, yes, there was an aspect of like being an entrepreneur of like, wait a second, this 9-5 corporate America thing is just doesn't feel right to me. And so it was like, well, what can I choose then? And it was like, oh, I can choose this. And it's definitely been an experience for sure. And it still is an experience being an entrepreneur is like, it's a fun and fascinating journey that will definitely highlight and bring to the surface things we haven't dealt with. And it'll bring to the surface things that we're really passionate about.
Yeah, you were right about that. You were right about that.
And I love to do what the fuck I want to do when I want to do it. And even as I say that, I just got that like we still have choices no matter what we're doing. And I really just get how in the past I've looked at, oh, if I do this, it's not really my choice. So I've been making some distinctions between some things aren't my choices and some things are, and I just got that right now.
Interesting.
And now it's like, holy shit, there's a whole new, like, I see it's such an energy. It's like this whole space just opened up, like if a door opened up and it's like, oh, wow, there's more room energetically. Like there's this aha.
Yeah, that's what happened. It's just that I get tired of like seeing people day in, day out, clock in, clock out, and they look like they hate it to be there. I was like, bro, you have a choice to fucking leave and do something with it, but you chose to stay here and get fucking angry, but you chose to work and get angry. You don't have to stay there. In my head, I was like, but that's just people.
Yeah, well, you don't have to choose to be angry working there either.
Yeah, I chose not to be angry working there either. It's just that I was like, there's no point of me being angry, being there. Because basically I shift from it's like this. There was snowing that day, right? And my thought was, damn, it's snowing. I don't want to go to work. And I was like, but that's what most people would think, right? And so I was like, fuck, I'm going to change my mindset. I was like, I'm going to go to work and I'm going to fucking have fun. I was like, fuck yeah. So what ended up happening, I was like, I was working outside. I was like, fuck this. People would get angry and mad, so they're going to work. I'm going to have fun and jump in the snow. That's what I did.
Nice.
That's what happened. It was cold, though. It was cold.
Yeah, how'd you feel?
It was great. Holy shit. Fuck, man. That was like, people were like, the people were there working. I was like, damn, man, aren't you cold? I was like, yeah, well, Who cares? It's work or whatever. I don't care. It's like when people come into work, they have to shift. Well, they they tend to, they have lots of stress. I get it, and then they have lots to deal with. I get it. But when it comes to that, you have to shift your mindset from positive a little bit to change your. Because I saw this one customer, she was being happy for a moment, and then things weren't going her way, and then she said, I knew that I shouldn't come here today. So she changed her mindset into a self-fulfilling prophecy, and it became true for her. That means she was having a bad day because of her mindset, and I saw that. It was so powerful. People work there, but they don't see customer behavior, how they act,
Yeah.
and it was incredible. But yeah, go ahead.
I know there's something like being so powerfully highlighted in this and what you shared is that like you said about being fun. Yeah. And then you got to work and you did something fun and you had a different experience. And it happened out of you creating it. Like you said, this is what's gonna fucking happen here. Have some fun.
Yeah.
And you went out, you had fun and you had something different happened.
Right. Well, it's okay. So I'll show another experience. I got in trouble for having fun a little bit because there's one customer. I was a cashier, and there was customer.
The fun is so bad. Take out the fun.
Take out the fun. So the customer said I was slow. I was like, what? I was slow. The fuck this mean? So I was sitting in my room last like couple of days, not couple of days ago, couple of months ago, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna have fun. And so, Power Ranger? No, right? You know Power Ranger?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I had a morpher. So I was like, fuck this. Since customers are being rude, I'm going to make their day happy. So I brought the morpher in so I can play. So I was being cashier. I was like, yeah, that's right. And in the morning, I was flirting with a girl. And I was like, oh, shit, this is so awesome, right? And so I brought the mic. I was like, it's morphin' time. And then there was one customer. She was Spanish. She's like, so you play? I was like, yeah. She said, you play in front of people? Yeah. I was like, she's like, do it. I was like, no. And I would start playing. I was like, time for it. That was so loud. And people hear it. And I was like, yeah, this is what happened. Because I wanted a different experience than most people. So I ended up changing it. But the next day, I got in trouble. But I made the manager say it's Power Ranger. Oh, that was epic. And then I start getting customer to say my name. Instead of me saying Johnny, I tell them, it's like, my name is CK. You know what CK stand for?
No.
Clark Kent. So I started playing with the customer. I was like, yo, my name's CK. You know what that stand for? Clark Kent, Superman. That's right. So I'll start playing with them. People don't play that. So you have to be different.
And I bet that's really welcomed.
Yes, it is. But the top manager wasn't welcome because he wanted to do it his way. He's like, you do it my way and not your way. I was like, hell no, what the? So I was getting pissed. I was like, I ain't doing your way shit. I didn't say them. I told the manager this. I was like, first of all, people are there clock in, clock out, and they have no life. And it's not fun. I have to make it fun. You're telling me not to talk to them. That's what happened. Because I usually talk to the coworker about their life, and he don't want me talking. I was like, okay, whatever. So that's what happened.
So what's in there for you? Like you're very passionate about all of that. So what
do you mean? What's in it for me? What do you mean?
No, like there is such a message in there from you and who you are and who you're a stand for people. And so like
my message is like oftentimes people want to have fun. People want to feel like not just give them a smile, but like an epic awesomeness that people want. Like they don't see that every single day. Like that's why people have entertainment.
Epic awesomeness. You should coin that and you should create something of like this business or like this intention of what you do in people's life is you bring epic awesomeness.
Oh, I never actually thought about that before.
Yeah, dude, it's so right there. Oh my God, I can feel it. It's so palpable and powerful. My whole body's vibrating. And like, Johnny, epic awesomeness, bringing it into your life every single fucking day.
Ooh, that's awesome.
Like, that's yeah. Fuck.
Fuck yeah. Oh, shit.
Yeah. God? What do you say about that?
Oh, yeah. Okay, I definitely love this interview. You made my day. This interview is...
Yeah, so that's what's there for you to bring in who you're already bringing it, but like coin that message. Like this is just what I'm getting is you can make that into a business and that's who you get to be. You get to do that in whatever way that it shows up. Maybe you go into businesses and you have this, you bring in conversation or you speak about it. Your videos are about that, your whatever. There's something so magical in there. You're so lit up and passionate about it. And we want that. Like the world wants to see more of that.
Yeah, they do. They don't want to see that.
Yes, they do, Johnny.
Yes, wait.
God. And guess what?
Are you speaking to me?
And guess what? The fact that like it's there out of you so passionately is people are starving for that. Like they're starving. Like doing the nature walks, the first nature walk I did, 15 people showed up. Or 14 or whatever the fuck it was. It was 14 or 15. But they showed up because I was like, holy shit, people really want this. And for me, it's like, this is a no-brainer. I can see this. This is something I love. And it's like what you have access to there is something that you can see. And people are like starving for fun.
One question that I want to ask you, why nudity?
So, yeah, thank you for asking that. I love doing photography, and I started really doing some self-photography when I traveled to Iceland, and I would take photos and I would be doing things and I would be in the photo. And then I started doing some nude photography with myself. And that was something that I had been wanting to do. And I was at my parents' house in Michigan, and I went out into the woods one time, and I was inspired. I was like, you're going to do some nude photography. And I went out into the woods, and I got naked in nature. And I was like, I had been walking around and smelling and just being engulfed in it. And I started taking these photos with myself. And it was like, I don't know, 3 or 4 photos into it. Because I would take the photo and then I would look at it and be like, okay, how's that angle? How's that in proximity? You know, just looking at the whole photo and everything working in harmony. And it was about the 3rd or 4th photo. And I looked at it and I saw myself and I was like, holy shit, that's what I look like? It was like the first time I had ever really seen myself. And I was like, wow, I'm like really beautiful. And it was like the first time I was like, holy shit, I'm beautiful. And it was just it's such a magical moment. And I went, and afterwards I meditated under this beautiful pine tree. And I obviously had my phone, but I put my phone down and meditated. And when I picked my phone back up, there were some notes about doing things with like nudity in nature. And I was like, I had totally forgot I wrote about that. And what just came through is like sharing that with other women. And the nudity part of the retreat experience is all out of that. Like that magical moment of like seeing myself in a way that I had never seen myself is what I'm bringing into those experiences. Because I want that for other women. Like seeing themselves in this whole new way that they've never seen themselves. And that's the answer to like why nudity. And there's something so magical about being like free of things and just being outside in the vibration of nature. It's like no barriers, no anything. It's just like, this is me. I'm naked and out in the woods, and there's no barrier. It's just like being seen.
Are you materialistic? No, right? Or yes or no?
What do you mean by that? Like, do I want a lot of physical stuff, a lot of materials?
Yeah.
Well, I'm on a journey of 98 items or less, so I think the answer to that is no. However, I have this bear that I'm attached to that Wade keeps wondering how come I'm attached to it. So, like, so mostly the answer is no. I mean, it's not a dominant driving thing for me. Like, I don't really have it that I have to have a bunch of stuff. But I've also had an experience and got that sometimes when I didn't feel good, I would feel the need to buy things or have things. And I was like, what is this? And then when I would feel good, I would be like, I don't need to have anything. It was like, what's happening here?
Why you like photography?
I don't know if I've ever answered that question out loud to anyone else. Why do I like photography? It's just so like sensual and magical and so stimulating to the eyes. Like, it's very, I don't know, it's just like this pristine capture. It says so much, and it's full, like, and it's open to interpretation.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like,
well, you're correct on that one, because when I was a kid, well, actually when I was a teenager, about 19, and I was in boarding school, I loved taking pictures. And the picture, because I like to, the anime Dragon Ball Z?
well, I've never watched it, but I know the name.
Yeah, and they have like, imagine, if you will, that of course it makes it much more easier because about energy, that they have, let's say you have an energy ball, right? And you can blast it off, right? Using our energy ball, just blast it off, and you can create like walls with holes. Anyway, I would take pictures with the flashlight having like look like an energy ball. Like I was having it. You are right. It's like something magical within like an image that you can create with an angle or with like memories. I took so many pictures back in boarding school with people, and I asked, like, people don't like taking pictures. I was like, no, it's okay. It's for memories. I'm keeping, and I took so many, and it refreshes the mind of what happened in the past. Sometimes I like to reminisce of the past because the pictures are so wonderful that people don't take their day. Like, I get it, but the creation stop. Like it's forever.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like beautiful. But
Are you crying? You getting all sentimental over the past there?
I'm crazy. I'm somewhat. I changed because of what happened of my past that changed me, but I'm still somewhat authentic from who I was in the past, because what I did in the past is still what I do now. It's because I told my old manager this. He said, "Why aren't you normal?" And that's like, normal is overrated. I don't want to be normal. Because if you're normal, then you're not. Because one time I fit into a group and they don't accept me, right? And I was like, fuck this. I'm being myself. Fuck all you guys. I was like,
hey, Johnny, what if we're actually the normal ones and everybody else is being weird because they're so, like, just check this. Check this. Being connected and being yourself and being authentic and being playful and fun, that's normal. Like, being alive and connected.
Oh, I get what you mean. Okay.
is normal. And the weird ones are the ones that are like, ding, ding, check in. I go to work and I don't express myself. I'm not connected to what's, I'm not connected to the greater whole. I'm not.
Okay, I get what you mean. Yeah.
Yeah. They're fucking weird. We've been the normal ones the whole time.
Holy shit. Yeah, I know what you mean. It's not normal to not express yourself. It's like, I get it. It's like nature. Nature expresses itself.
Yeah, it's not normal to not be connected to source.
Of course, you're right. But okay. But we're so many people are disconnected with source. Yeah, that's what happened, right?
Weird shit.
Yeah. That's what happened. When I in 2013, I go on the research and I try to find the truth, and that we're so disconnected with the source that because we live in this physical world and we don't see it as we're connected with the source, so we're disconnected. But as we dive into spirituality, law of attraction, and everything, we're connected. And so as we become aware of the source, we're empowered. And then we get to choose our own path. That's why I get to choose my own experience. Even whether it's good or bad, I get to choose it. That's how I already understood. Because I know that because every time I go in, I knew for a fact that I'm going to experience this, whether or not, something different than I had before. To change my brain. That's what I want.
Yeah.
But it's fun. It's fun. Even though it's scary, but it's fun. It's fun.
Totally.
Yeah.
And there's when it's scary, that's the juiciness too. There's something so exciting in that experience, right? Like, I mean, most of my expansion and growth occurs when it's like, oh God, this feels uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And then it's like, what's now available? It's like, shit, if I can do that.
You sound like very confident. So where does the confidence come from?
The universe.
Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh, the universe.
Well, it's from experience. So whatever I'm talking about that I feel really confident about is typically because I've had some sort of experience. So like going into something scary or uncomfortable and knowing that on the other end or even in the experience there's so much expansion is like, yeah, because I experience that all the time. Like how people like the adrenaline rush or whatever and they jump off buildings and things. Well, yeah, I've never done that yet. There's still a possibility, but I like have this thing sometimes if I can choose between I did this program with Landmark and I had a choice between this one program or this one program to do with them. And their whole message is about people getting access to what really matters to them and putting your past in the past and so forth and so forth. And I was like, okay, I can choose between this program or this program. And I was like, this one feels really easy, like really easy. And this one feels like it's going to confront some stuff that I'm going to have to transform and deal with. And in that moment, I was like, this one is going to have this, like, I want to take this one on because who I'm going to be on the other end of that is not who signed up for this course, for this program.
Interesting.
And there's also a difference between like when we feel something like, oh, I shouldn't go there tonight. Like that's a different feeling of like that feels uneasy. But this was like, ooh, this feels like it's going to confront some beliefs and some things that I have going on that are stopping me from being who I really want to be. And so like I just took that on and I was like, I want to get in there. And at some points I was like, get me out of here. And after I did the program, it was like through the program too, but it like totally transformed how I'm being and interacting with other people, with my relationship with my brother and who I am in my career. Being able to share things and allow things to happen is totally different.
Interesting.
So
how do you deal with people for you?
How do I deal with people?
Yeah, because they're all type of people, whether it's fucked up, whether it's nice, kind people, or they're assholes. There's like rude people. How you deal with people?
Well, that's such a general question. How do I deal with people?
yeah, you're right. That is a general. I mean,
Well,
how do you connect with people, whether it's strangers? Like, how you say it? How do I find? Usually, when people come across people, they'll say hi, how are you doing? But there's nothing really there. Sure, they'll talk something that they're connected with, like related to, but not deeper. You know what I'm
yeah.
saying?
Yeah, so like I'm not afraid to go in deep with people I just meet on the street.
Really?
Yeah.
How come? That's a very interesting. How come?
How come?
Because usually people are like, because I know that for myself, that for me, I share and I'm very open because I understand something. But when it comes to people, as they grow older, they have dealt with a lot of pain and suffering and hardship, so they close themselves up.
Yeah.
They don't share. How come you share? That's very interesting.
Well, one is that I just feel like I came to planet Earth to be, like lead by example. And the other thing is I'm not always necessarily like moving around in my day like so like, oh my gosh, life is amazing. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, life is good. And sometimes I'm like dealing with something. And at the same time, like I know that I'm here to connect with people and to be with people. And there's something so enlivening and I know that even a smile can make a huge impact on someone's life. And it's also not the norm/weird thing, remember? like like it's not the norm, right, of somebody to meet somebody in a moment and just be really authentic and be deep with them. And it's like I don't want to pretend that I'm not myself. And there's something available to myself and this person by being open and being able to connect with them. Like I met this one guy on my bike, I have this bright hot pink bike, and we started up a conversation. I sat down with him for a few minutes and he was talking about some things that he was dealing with. And I was like, well, why are you dealing with that? And I was like, do you think that it's possible to, like have a different experience? I was just like going there with him because like, and that's not abnormal for me. And sometimes it doesn't feel right to have that conversation with someone and I don't have it. So sometimes I'm just like, good day, hi, hello. And like, that's how that happens. And I don't really know. The why is just because it's just what I feel guided to do. And I can't not be it. It's almost like when if I try and not be that with other people, it's really fucking uncomfortable.
Yeah, it's like, I know what you mean by being uncomfortable. It's like they try to make you a robot and you can't have feelings or you can't be yourself.
Yeah, and that's where pain and suffering comes from, is when we're not letting ourselves be ourselves. And it's really uncomfortable to not be myself. Yeah. And I get really weird with people when I'm not, and awkward, and like I feel like I say like random weird stuff out my mouth. And
I say that all the time. It's okay. I said that shit all weird all the time. Back in the day. I'm telling you.
No, like weird in the way that I'm not actually being myself. I'm trying to like hold something back is when I feel like I'm being weird. When I'm being myself, I don't care what comes. Like it's just like whatever comes out, comes out.
Oh God, I'd be saying some weird stuff to guys all the time. Gosh.
You've been saying some weird stuff to guys or God all the time?
Guys. Yeah, because it's a habit of mine where I was like, I'm gay, but I'm straight, but I was like, I'm gay. But I like the reaction from guys.
What the fuck?
No, it's because, okay, I'll tell you a story. Back in boarding school, there was a whole bunch of guys playing in gaming room, and there was a recreation, and they were in the room playing PS2 games, and I stood there in like the door, and I was like, I'm gay, and they like, they look at me, and I was like, oh shit, I love this experience. I'm gonna start saying some weird shit.
I like seeing the reactions from people.
Yeah, I like to see the reaction from people when it's funny, but
Yeah, I do too.
yeah, it's fun. It's like
Well, it's fun to surprise people.
yes.
And you know what? And I think that's part of it too, is I like to surprise people with being myself.
Oh, that's a good. Yeah, that's very refreshing.
Yeah, like I have conversations and I will share things with people that some, like, even conversations around sex or sexuality or like taboo things that sometimes people don't like talk about. Like, I'll just be really authentic and open about that.
So
And
I was thinking about something stupid. I'm sorry. It was I was I have wear this thing where I don't share with like open with people, but I say some stupid shit because it's taboo. It's like I suck God's dick.
What?
Oh god, what I say? But yeah, I told my sister, my brother that, and that's what happened. That's what happened. I'm sorry. Oh gosh. Oh my god. Oh god, but this is what happened. Oh, okay. What happening? I don't get it anymore. Oh gosh.
I wonder how God feels about that.
Oh shit! Oh shit! Yeah, I think this video is gonna be taken down, but yeah, that's what happened. I usually say that because it's fun. Because people don't say that because people get so hyped up about God. For me, God is just a source with energy that we're connected with.
Yeah.
God damn it.
Your video disappeared on that one.
Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Yeah, that's why I don't say it because it's fun. I wanted to say it. I was like, I suck God. No, I want.
You can always edit that out.
Oh gosh.
I think you should just save the clip of me laughing hysterically.
And then people are like, what the fuck just happened? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, that could be a short video.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I actually wanted to say that in Vietnamese people in my language. There's Virginia, right? And I wanted to go there and say that in my language. It would be so hilarious.
Say it in your language.
Boo, come chai. That's what.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they would stare at me, but yeah, I do that all the time with people. It sucked though. It sucked that it's an. I work at an American store. There's Asian people, but there's like they don't understand. I want to say, God.
Yeah, I bet it does suck there.
No, I mean I wanted to say in the mic. I was like, if I say it in the mic, I suck God's dick, and then they'd be like, "What the fuck said that?" Hey. But that's okay. But yeah, go ahead.
Your video disappeared. I can't see you anymore.
Really?
Yeah, there you are. You got so heated on that. Oh, now you're there.
Oh shit! What happened? It took. Oh shit. Oh god. Okay, now you guys.
God entered the building.
Oh shit. That was funny. But no, go ahead. Now I don't know where we are anymore.
I don't know either, man.
You crack. Oh god. Gosh. All right.
I think we just complete on that.
That's what. Where can we find you?
Oh, where can you find me? I'm right here.
Oh shit! Oh god! No, you're right. We are here. That's the thing that what was it? Law of attraction. The thing that we want is already here. That's just
Yeah. Yeah, and so that thing that everybody wants is the universemademedouit.com. So
right.
they can find their Universe Made Me Do It where they can find out about the retreats, the nature walks where I'm going to be traveling around to, where I'm going to be, all of that amazingness. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as the Universe Made Me Do It.
Okay. Do you have any Instagram or Twitter? I mean, I saw you have YouTube channel.
Oh yeah, I have a YouTube channel too.
No.
All under the Universe Made Me Do It. So yeah, I have a Twitter account, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram TV.
You have. Oh, you're hip about that.
What's that?
I said you're hip about that. Instagram TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a cool new thing.
Yeah. What the hell I was gonna ask you, but I can't remember what I was gonna ask you. Shit. Are you gonna become an author? Because you say
Yeah.
you're writing.
Yes.
Okay. What's it going to be?
Apparently it's going to be nature erotica mixed with spirituality.
That's awesome. I'm sorry. I'm thinking. Quote, sucking God's dick.
No. No. And, there very well can be some informational kind of books in there too. And that topic is something that's really easy for me to write about. And the other books about connecting with the universe and nature, they're going to show themselves, and it's going to be a conversation of just that. And I just got that right now, is that it's going to be about connecting with source through nature. Hey, Wade, is that book title taken?
I'm not sure.
God. What did I say? Connecting to source through nature?
Yeah.
Wade, did you write that down?
Okay, he's writing it down. Okay.
To source through nature?
Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. Wait.
God's got it.
Oh shit. No.
So that's the next book, Connecting to Source Through Nature. It'd probably be Connecting to the Universe Through Nature, but it might be source. That's what came through right now. So.
Okay.
And I imagine there'll be a book titled The Universe Made Me Do It too.
Oh yeah, I love that. I love that name. That's pretty cool.
Well, guess where I got it from, Johnny?
Where did you get it from?
From the universe.
The universe. Thank you.
I was asking one day, I was like, okay, I really want to shift how I'm working with people and what I'm up to. I don't want to keep just doing like, oh, I have a patient at this hour, at this hour, at this hour. I go to an office, this sort of thing. And I was like, universe, there's something different. And I just kept asking, what's available to me right here and now? And when I was asking that, it was, what's available to me right here and now that I can't see for myself right now? Bring it into the light. And 3 days into that, I walked into my kitchen, and all of a sudden it was like the universe made me do it. And I was like, holy shit. And I got on my computer and I was like, is that website available? The website was available. I went on the trademark thing. I was like, is it trademarked? Nope, wasn't trademarked. And I was like, this is happening.
Oh shit, it's going down. Oh
yeah. I was like, it's going down. It was available on all these platforms. It wasn't trademarked. It's now trademarked. And yeah. And so like, it's just been on this fun expansion since then. And, I think that's another great point. How we get to work with a law of attraction with the universe is request things, ask for things, and then allow that to come in. Like when I wake up in the morning, I first talk to the universe, and I get connected with that. And if I want something to show it, I ask for the universe to show it to me. Deliver me this thing. Show me this in my day. Show me abundance that I've never seen in my day that's available to me.
That means you believe that it's coming to you. Like you already accepted it, that it's already here, but it's coming already. You allow it to come.
Allow it to come. And really it's like that conversation of like somebody is looking for their keys. They've lost their keys. They can't find their keys. They're like looking around. Where are my keys? Where are my keys? And then they walk to this coffee table, and they were like, I checked the coffee table 3 times, and all of a sudden the keys are there. It's like when we ask for like, show me something, universe, and we get out of the way, we can see the keys that have always been on that table.
So it's because we are blocking sometimes. Oh.
Yeah. Like we have a filter, or we can't see what we can't see because we're sometimes looking for something that's lost. And if we think the keys are lost, we can't find the keys.
Right. Interesting. Huh.
Yeah, it's like this filter. And then when there's an intention, for me, what I've experienced, when I have an intention and I'm clear about it and I'm like, universe, this doesn't work for me anymore. I want to experience something different. Show me something different. Like I was irritated one day because I couldn't find a parking spot, and parking spots are really easy for me. And I was like, this doesn't make sense, universe. Like not finding a parking spot. And it happened like 4 times in a row. And I was using all this time to look for spots. And then I got out of my car and I'm walking to go meet a friend, and I'm like feeling irritated by it. And I was just like, you know what, universe, this is not what I want for myself. I don't want to feel irritated right now. Like I want to experience something different. And within the next hour, like that had completely shifted. Like that feeling of irritation had completely shifted out. But it shifted because I was like, I don't want this anymore. This doesn't work for me and what I'm up to and how I want to feel. And that was and I said it out loud. And that's one of the other things I do is to just talk out loud to the universe. I can be in a busy place and still be talking out loud to the universe. Yeah, at this point, it's like what's important is that I feel good. So if I need to just take a moment to be with myself and have a conversation of like, wait a second, this doesn't work for me. This is what I want for myself. That's what's important, because it's going to impact how I interact with every single person around me too. And I had a friend that I was spending time with, and I was like, I don't want to be a crab ass with my friend. I want to be present and engaged with him.
Jojo, yay! Sorry. Jojo, kung from one. Yeah.
God knocking on your door.
God damn it, God! I love you. I want to make love to you. Come here, God.
Oh yes, make love to the universe.
Yes, make love to the universe. But yeah,
Namaste.
Oh shit. Oh god. Well, technically, God is a player, actually. Or that would be Zeus. Interesting. But go ahead.
Zeus is God, so.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. It's alright. He's holy. He's somewhere in there. I don't know. But no. But for what is God to you, though? That's what I want to ask.
What is God to me?
Yeah.
Wow, some interesting questions you ask.
Of course.
Well, my first natural response to that is God is the universe, but that's not really answering what is God to me. Wow, what is the universe to me? What is God to me? So for me, God universe is synonymous. It's the same thing. It's just a different title. What is that to me? I've never really kind of been with that question before. It's like, It's just a loving partnership. Holy shit, I've never seen that there before.
Holy shit. Some people are evil.
It's this loving partnership, and it's me. It's who I am, who I really am.
Interesting. That's a good yeah. Right.
Well, I've never said that out loud or even looked at that. Wow, it's really, I can feel the energy of that you asking that question and tuning into it. Like,
Well, it's because if you think about it, most people, because I was listening to one of them conversation with my friend, because usually I play card game. It's called Yu-Gi-Oh, and he had a friend on Facebook, and we were talking about how God is like evil or vengeful or something. And I was like, yeah, well, most people think that God is vengeful and God should punish people, but that's not really God.
you know, the only thing that's vengeful is our own bad attitudes.
Yeah, that's true. The mindset. I realized that when we have a bad attitude, it usually starts with the mind. The mind had an attitude, so we start affecting the way that we act toward ourselves, and when we act toward ourselves, we act towards other, and it kind of cause a change.
Yeah, it's not God not letting things in, it's us not letting things in.
Yeah.
Like, God is benevolent and loving, and the only being that doesn't let something happen is the individual. Like, if we're not letting in our love and well-being, it's not like, that's why getting law of attraction is so powerful, is that like we're creating everything, and God, our source, is here to give us whatever we need. They don't care why we want it or what we want. And the only thing ever in the way of us being with that is ourselves. Like, if if we don't have the money that we want to have, it's because we did that. We did that because we have a story that I don't deserve it, or everybody else gets everything. It's not God. If somebody's like suffering over there and in physical pain, it's because they're blocking their well-being. It's not God. Like, the identification of suffering is the evidence that God exists. Because when we're not letting it in, we feel like fucking shit. And when we let God in, we feel amazing, like anything's possible.
Oh, interesting. What you said.
It's our check engine light to our connection to God.
No.
We feel like shit, we're not connected.
No, what you said is very interesting. You said that when we let God, the source, whatever in, our life will be fucking amazing. But when we shut God's source out, our life is shit because we're not connected. Oh shit. Oh shit. That's an epic shit. Oh, okay. That's so cool.
Boom.
Boom. Oh yeah, that's what. No, because I was thinking about how when the person's suffering, usually they start to indulge into the thoughts of them. They're indulging themselves. But if they're like thinking of broader term of connecting with source, they shoulder their confidence in the source, and that's the thing comes to them. Interesting. Very interesting.
Yeah. It's like when you feel good, more good feeling stuff comes your way. When you don't feel good, more not good feeling stuff comes your way. Like, you're irritated. Like, if I'm irritated, and if I would have left that parking lot feeling irritated, I would have met more irritation on driving wherever I was driving to. I would have been like, people would have been irritating me. It's not because people are irritating, it's because I would be carrying that around, and those things I would see irritation everywhere.
Well, I mean, at first you said it was easy to find like a parking lot. Did you always had a confidence of that?
Well, I have this mantra of everything works out for me. So there's and also the more and more it's easier for me to find a parking spot, the more I'm like, I can just think there's always a parking spot. Like I have a story, there's always a parking spot for me. So when that wasn't happening, I was like, what is this about? And it was really about because I moved from a different part of town that was like amazingly set up for riding bikes. And I have a bike, and I moved recently to a place where it has a different setup for bikes, pretty much a less setup for riding bikes. And I was feeling irritated, one, that I moved from that location. And here I am over here and using my car more, which is not what I want to be doing necessarily. And so my irritation about a parking spot was the fact that I was still holding on to some irritation about I have to use my car more. I can't ride my bike as much. And when I got that day when I said, universe, like this doesn't work for me anymore. Like one of the awarenesses that I got, that it was really about the fact that I was irritated that I'm not living in that location anymore and I can't ride my bike as much. And I can't ride my bike as much is just a story I made up, because after that day, I've been riding my bike pretty much every day.
Interesting.
And when I ride my bike, I never have to worry about parking.
Yeah, of course.
Like I can hook my bike up to pretty much anything if I need to. There's always going to be something there. And so that's what it was really about. And then when I drove my car, the time after that, like literally parking spots have been so available to me. But I shifted that and I got an awareness of what it was really about. And in that awareness of what it was really about and connected to, I had the availability to let that go. I could look at that and be like, oh, okay. But I looked at that and I was like, wait a second, I can create something new. I want to let that go. So I continued to create with my words and my intention that, like, now that I got this, great. I appreciate the awareness and I can let that go. I can let that story go.
How can a individual who's just starting to learn about manifestation, law of attraction, how can they use that to their own life instead of reading all this law of attraction book and applying their life?
What do you mean? Say a little more.
Well, because what was it, 2 years ago, I got pissed at a couple of people because they quote unquote, speak law of attraction. Everybody get to choose their own experience. Like Wade said, people have their own law of attraction experiences, right? And not they're all law of attraction is the same. And people are like waiting for things to happen and they're not doing anything about it. It's like before you said about the book, it's like you shouldn't read the book and not doing anything about it. That's what happened to people. So in my pain, I saw people were they're thinking and visualizing, but they're not taking action on their dream. And that's what happened. Like they're waiting for something to happen. Like my brother told me, like his friend, he was like, I want this to happen, but he's waiting for something to happen. That's why.
The something that might need to happen is he needs to go for a walk over here, and that's the only action you need to take. So it's like about trusting the guidance that comes along. Oftentimes you might be thinking, well, I'm asking for this thing, and it has to do with a romantic relationship. So like that means I need to do something directly correlated to a romantic relationship. It may be go to this party at your friend's house so that you can meet someone who knows someone. It could be like, hey, go to this seminar, and then you go to this seminar and then something opens up for you. It could be like, hey, go to the grocery store and then you go meet this romantic partner that you're asking for. Like, it's not so like, and oftentimes we might be thinking, oh, this is how it needs to show up. This is what it looks like. This is what it is. And it's like, create your intention and set, it's like setting the timer and you got something in the oven, set it and let it go. And our guidance will guide us to what we're asking for. And oftentimes it's in ways that we couldn't even imagine.
Yeah, they usually blow our minds. Usually.
Yeah. And so like if somebody's just sitting back and it's like, that I want this thing to happen, then, and it depends on the individual, because if they're like, I want this thing to happen, I wrote about it. It's like, well, how do you feel about it? Are you focusing on it all the time? Are you want it to happen? Do you believe it will happen? Are you following your inner guidance about your impulses every day? Are you meditating? Are you, there could be a whole array of questions to ask, ask oneself, where am I in relationship to what it is that I want? Because everybody has a different relationship. Sometimes I can just think something in my mind and then it literally shows up the same day.
Yep, that's true.
I could be writing about something and it's not really coming. Where is it? Okay, well, if it's not coming, what do I have in the way still? Because I could write all day long that I want this thing to come, but if I'm writing about things I don't fucking believe, then they're not going to happen. So where's my belief in correlation to that thing? Where's my attachment? Is there attachment there? Like, I need this thing to come. It needs to show up this way. It needs to look like this. It needs to happen like this. That'll junk up the whole process.
Wait, I forget. You keep talking about meditation. What is meditation?
What is meditation?
For you, or what is meditation for you, and what does it look like? Like, how do we meditate, and why do we meditate? Or why we meditate? Like, because I'm trying to figure out. I know what meditation is, but because there are many forms of meditation, but like,
Yeah.
what should we do?
Well, there's so many different ways, yeah, of course, to meditate, and it's all about what works for you. So, like, for me, I lay down when I meditate. I don't prefer to sit because I find it just doesn't really resonate with me. I like move around a little bit more. When I lay down, I'm just like, boom. I'm on my bed oftentimes. Where I sleep is where I meditate. And then, if I'm outside or whatever, I'll meditate outside. And for me, it's a moment of allowing the stillness in my mind so that there's an even clearer conduit to the universe. So I can hear and be with the universe. And it's really fun and magical time. Like, I get a lot of sensations in my body sometimes. Like, I don't even feel my body. Things come to me during meditations, and there's a difference between like a thought that pops in during a meditation that I'm like thinking about something I have to do, and versus an inspired thought that comes in from the universe. And for me, I oftentimes have to focus on something else, like a sound in the room, to quiet my mind. And sometimes I'll play music. Sometimes it's the sound of a fan. It's like repetitive. And then if a thought pops in and I catch that I have this thought and I'm thinking about something, I bring my awareness back to whatever I was focusing on. And then if a thought pops in, I bring my awareness back. And so sometimes that happens a lot in a meditation for me, and sometimes it barely happens at all, or just right in the beginning. So, and that's the other thing that I tell people is that, like, it's the act of continuously doing it. Consistency is always your friend with no matter what you're going to do. So it doesn't matter what you're going to do about taking on law of attraction. Find something that resonates and feels good, and then consistently do it every single day, and then see the impact that has. So it doesn't really matter so much what it is, but if there's something, if you're like, yeah, it's meditation, if you're like, yeah, it's writing in the morning, it's writing at night, if it's like, for me, it's talking to the universe as soon as my consciousness is in my body. It's like, choose something and then let that be consistent. Let that be consistent. That consistency will show you will enhance and show you the universe and the power that you hold in that intention.
Do you think there's something bigger to the universe? Like, have you ever imagined there's something bigger?
The universe, for me, is that something bigger. It's like, it encompasses everything that I have no idea that exists and is amazing and benevolent and powerful. So it's just like the universe is like a blanket statement for all this magicalness of life.
Interesting.
Yeah.
How do you see it? Is that how you see that every single day? Like magical, like possibilities? Like when you, because I guess the reason why is because the reason why I asked that because like my mind is like when it comes to like everyday people, like even if I say that they like that's impossible or like their mind is like in a different of course everybody mind is like wired differently because of their circumstances, but their reality isn't like people are more pessimistic now than well only if they're into personal development, law of attraction, but their mindset's like pessimistic. Because I talked to one of my friends and I was like, oh shit. So, because my experience is like, it's possible, it's not impossible. But when I run into like my friend, he's like, no, that's impossible. I was like, where is this coming from? And I forgot that people live in a different reality than what we're used to, or law of attraction people are used to.
Well, and the other thing too is that something that I like to do is when somebody reflects something back to me is how do I feel about what they said? Because they could be communicating some nugget of something that still lives inside of you and they're just reflecting it back, and like that's not possible. And so like to look at, is that somewhere still in me? Does this feel impossible in some aspect to me? Because people are constantly reflecting what we think, and they will also reflect how we think that they are in the world. And so for me, there are people out there who, yeah, we're all in a different vibrational place. And at the same time, I don't usually spend a lot of time thinking about where other people are at, and more excited about who I get to meet with when I meet them. And like, I know that I can communicate with them no matter where they're at, and they can get access to something. It's like I have this agreement with the universe that as I'm moving around in the world and I'm interacting with people, that they will get access to their inner being in a whole new way that they've ever got access to by interacting. Like interacting with them gives them this new opening and this new access.
No, yeah, that is quite true because by me interacting with you, I learned something incredibly different, and that you changed my perspective on how I see something that if I didn't do this interview, I wouldn't see.
Yeah.
That's like the interaction with me. What I'm getting with you is like, yeah. I mean, my friend, when I interact with him, he's learning from me too because he know that I have a little bit knowledge that most people, because most people aren't knowledgeable about a lot of things and they don't think about a lot of things, and I do, so it's different for him because he's learning from me too. I know that he is. So. But I also attract him. I also attract him into my life because
Totally.
I what's it called? I play a card game and then that's how he come into my life. You're right on the thought. When we have a thought, we can attract people into our life without even like writing about it. It just happened.
Yeah.
It happened that all the time with me.
Yeah.
So we are powerful human beings. Thank you so much for yes. What you do namaste, right? Namaste.
I actually don't say namaste usually. I just do this.
Oh gosh. But for me, I say namaste only to Indian people.
Yeah, I don't have a full connection with the word namaste, so it doesn't feel quite genuine to me to say namaste.
Because
So,
sorry. For me, I
yeah.
say it. Yeah, for me, I say it because a long time ago, I have an ex. She was Indian, so she teach me how to say it. So I say it to all the other people.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I just do it. I just do some weird to Asian people. I just bow because I don't know. It's fun to me. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, thank you so much for this amazing interview today.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you. Oh, is this your first interview? I was gonna ask you.
No. Like my first ever interview? No.
No. What was it like with your first interview?
I'm sure my first interview was happening when I was a small child, right?
Oh shit.
I was on an infomercial one time. That was probably one of my first I got interviewed on that. And then I got interviewed about Chinese medicine and pranic healing, and it's fun. I like it.
I should be. Damn, I want to be interviewed. No, I mean.
You want to be interviewed? Okay.
Well, no, I did get an interview. It was yeah. No.
Well, no, I mean like universe deliver this.
Universe. Okay, give me your.
Well, that's how I got this interview with you. I wrote down in my notebook. I don't think I shared that with Wade, but I wrote down in my notebook the night before I went to bed, and I said I wanted to be on two people. Was I specific? I wasn't very specific, but I just said that I wanted to be interviewed. And then the next day, Wade was like, there's two people I'd really like to contact you with. Should be interviewed. And I was like, yeah, I know. I wrote that last night. So it's been so much fun and amazing. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're an amazing person. Oh my God. Jeez. You actually let my fucking, what was it called? My expression of who I am out a little bit more than today. Oh my God. Oh God. Usually I don't share that with people. That's one thing I don't share with people.
Yeah, you really let it go today. Oh, yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
I don't share that with people usually, though. But it's funny. The concept is funny, but okay.
I get it.
Yeah, okay.
Well, let's stay in touch.
Yes, we'll do that. And please send me your, okay, I have your, wait. Okay, I'm trying to think. Please send me your website.
Okay.
To your, Facebook, and then I'll put it in the YouTube. Okay, guys, that's it for today, and I'll see you guys later. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you. Bye-bye.